Howdy folks, my name is Reddy Opko, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, part number 5. In the last part, we were doing a little equipment gathering before we got into dungeon number 3 here. This is the Tower of Hera, and it is introducing us right away to a brand new mechanic. These colored switches are going to raise and lower colored blocks in the floor of matching colors. And this is a super interesting mechanic, and is something that is used to really great effect in pretty much every dungeon from here on out. It was such a good idea that they couldn't help but use it for basically everything from here on out. And yeah, it really genuinely works out extremely well for puzzle solving. It requires you to have knowledge basically room to room. As you can see, since I left the blocks up, I cannot escape out of this staircase, but thankfully we have the power of the boomerang, and I believe the arrows will also go right over these switches, so you don't have to worry too much about that, and you can use that as a ranged way to hit the switches. So yeah, these end up making for some really cool puzzles across the game. I think it's one of the cooler things, and it is even something that they brought back in a lot of the later Zelda titles. I know that in A Link Between Worlds that they use the color blocks a lot, and if I'm remembering correctly, they are also in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, if I'm thinking correctly, and in Minish Cap, I want to say also. Basically all of the 2D Zeldas that they made after this point used some sort of variation of this colored block system, so it is a very interesting system, and it is used to really great effect in a lot of the places in this game. So this is the first of one of these tile rooms. We encountered a couple of these in the Desert Palace, and I'm going to try my best not to die. In fact, I think an easier way to avoid the tiles than running back and forth is you can use your sword to break them, but I'm moving pretty cleanly, doing this alright. Just gotta actually not die, not have another BMOS moment where it's like, oh yeah, super easy to avoid, and then I just eat it immediately, especially since this time I don't believe I have a fairy in a bottle, so be a lot more cautious this time. Things work out much better for us. So this is definitely the dungeon. These switches provide, as I was mentioning before, you have to think room to room now. You can't just think of solving the puzzle in the room you're in. You have to... Okay, alright, I think I'm actually going to die here, is probably what's going to happen, which is going to be mighty unfortunate, but... if I do end up dying here, we might end up going back and making some smaller preparations before actually heading here. There are a couple more things that I could have done that might have served us a little bit better, I think, before we came in here, such as filling the actual bottle that I spent 100 rupees on. Spent all that money on it and then just left it empty when I moved into the dungeon. Not exactly the smartest move of all time, but... Oh, okay, alright. And I'm dead. Yep, that is going to be it. So... dying in a dungeon is going to give you a game over if you don't have a fairy, and if you hit the save and continue button, I believe it's going to start us right at the beginning of the dungeon. But what we're going to do is actually head on out and save and quit, go back to Link's house, and I'm going to show you guys a cool little trick is going to help us out. Probably not going to need it at this point now that I've actually died the one time, but let's go ahead and start at Dawson's house. And as you can see at the list, I did mash through it a little quickly, but right at the bottom of it, we can start again at the mountain house. So that's going to be where that old man was on the mountain. So we're going to be using that to get back up to the Tower of Hera as quickly as possible. But what we're going to be doing first is right to the left of Link's house here is a fairy fountain that you can access as soon as you have the Pegasus boots. So we're going to catch 2 fairies for our bottles, use the last one to get a full heal, not that I'm sure that it matters since I'm going to hit save and quit again. And this is going to bring us right back to the mountain house, or mountain cave. I don't know why I was reading that as house, and yeah, this does indeed start us with 3 missing hearts, so let's talk to the old man. I guess grabbing that fairy wasn't entirely necessary, but that's okay. Go ahead and talk to the old man again, and he will comfort our wariness, which is very kind of him. I appreciate that very much, old man. GG, Sama. Sorry, I should not speak Japanese poorly. That's my inner weeaboo coming out. I watch a little bit too much anime in general. Oh, you know what? I can actually speak a little bit about that since we're going to be doing some walking here to get back to the Tower of Hera. There is an anime that is coming out relatively soon after I'm recording this. It's called So What? I'm a Spider. and it is a fantastic isekai that is a girl who gets reincarnated as like a level 1 mob in a world, basically. So, you know, most isekai feature the protagonist being relatively powerful within the world, although I think that's a trope that a lot of them are now getting away from, which is really a great thing. Getting away from tropes is always a good thing, but usually the protagonist has some relative level of power, or in some cases is literally the most powerful being, like an overlord. But yeah, so what I'm a Spider, the main character is very, very weak and actually has to, like, work towards... as far as I had read, it wasn't even so much, like, getting powerful as being able to not eat it to anything in the world. So I'm really looking forward to that. If any of you out there are anime fans, that might be something that you could also enjoy. This is going to be my recommendation for the day. Yeah. Otherwise, most of the stuff that I watched is stuff that is already extremely, extremely popular. So recommending that is kind of like, yeah, you probably already watched it, but just in case you haven't. So try to avoid that sort of conversation. But So What, I'm a Spider, super looking forward to that. I have read a good chunk of the manga that was translated at the time. That was like a year or two ago, probably. So this is a good little bit ago that I was keeping up with it. But what I was reading of it was really enjoyable, and I haven't been keeping up with really any manga nowadays, so I need to get back to that, is I think my overall goal. It's difficult to find the time to read that sort of stuff, especially considering that I gotta spend, well, I say I got to, but I get to spend the time that I do on these videos, because I really do genuinely enjoy the time I get to spend doing these. It's a lot of fun for me. Being able to just talk and not really have to worry about it is really relaxing. I had definitely mentioned before in the 64 project that part of why I didn't leave the old videos up is because I can't really verify. Like, I don't want to spend the time to go back through and verify that I didn't say anything that is whack or not in accordance to my current beliefs, I guess is a fair way to say it. But it's relaxing now because I know that I'm not going to say anything. Like, I have the mindfulness to hopefully not say anything stupid. I'm actually really impressed with myself that I've managed to record this many videos without swearing a single time, or at least swearing in parts that made it into the video, because there were definitely some deaths in 64 that were a little rage-inducing that got cut out that you didn't end up seeing. But oh, I guess you can't hit that switch from here. I guess I do have to go back down and hit the switch in this room. That is most unfortunate, but yeah, I'm glad that I have the mindfulness not to say stupid stuff anymore. There were definitely some occasions, at least in the videos that I recorded, maybe not the ones that exist on the channel still, that are just privated, but even way before that, like pre-2011, when I was recording with a camera still, like a camera pointed at the game screen. Those videos almost certainly contained some not-so-great stuff. I'm almost certain of it, because I was a pretty dumb kid, and I was very impressionable, and there was, I will put it as, there was a point, oh, I have fallen, and I cannot get up. This is unfortunate, but it teaches you a new mechanic, that the holes in the dungeon that you can see the floor beneath are ones that you can fall into for effects. Unfortunately, I lost the rupee that got dropped, but I think I'll drop the previous conversation and leave it at, yeah, I was an impressionable kid, and I had said some stupid things, and I'm glad that those things are no longer publicly available, and that the things that I can make publicly available, I'm generally happier with the state of. So, overall, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. I'm really happy to be here, and I hope that comes through at least a little bit in my videos. I hope you guys get some of that sensation that I'm happy to be doing these. Because I don't know, there's something about it. Because, I mean, you know, I spend my time playing a lot of video games anyways in the first place, so being able to play a game with, like, purpose, I guess, is really, really, really enjoyable to me. And I hope that at some point, you know, maybe someone will find this helpful. Or at the very least, they'll find it relatively entertaining. I know that I'm not necessarily the most humorous or funny person out there, and I feel like that's what a lot of people look for. They just want someone to make them laugh, but I don't know. I hope that there is value in my rambling, at the very least, even if it doesn't evoke a laugh. It might produce some thoughtfulness, and you know, I'm honestly, in my book, I'm more okay with promoting thoughtfulness than laughs, because I'm not really trying to make these videos to be the next Chugga Conroy. I'm not trying to make these videos to get hella views or anything, otherwise I would be doing a lot more work to promote them. I'm just kind of happy to do them and be right at this level right here. This is fine. This is good stuff, and any growth at that point, instead of being disappointed that you're not seeing growth, instead I can just be happy for any growth that I do see. So I feel like that's a better state of mind to take on this sort of content creation thing. You just gotta be accepting that, you know, you're not going to have a very large audience from the get-go just as is, so, you know, if you can be okay with and accept that, I feel like it can generally lead to positive effects in your videos. At least that is what I would hope. Get rid of all the enemies in here. These are some obnoxious guys. And if you leave the orange pegs down here, you can get some hearts from these pots here, which is very, very useful. So you have to fall into specifically the top of this hole right here. If you fall into the bottom, you'll land on the switches, and it'll make a hole appear right here, and it won't let you get the chest. And it's actually very possible. This is why Sahasrarla told you before, don't leave the dungeon without getting all the items. Make sure you get all the treasure, because this is the one that I tend to miss, and if you do miss it, it is obnoxious to have to come all the way back here to grab it. So this is the Moon Pearl, which protects the hero from the changing effects of the Golden Power. So we will no longer be turned into a rabbit when we enter the Dark World, which is probably going to be useful at some point, I can only imagine. Moving onward with the Tower of Hera, though, only got a little bit more to go. In fact, I believe that as soon as we go up this very next staircase here, is going to lead us to our third boss. Here we are, folks. This is Twin Mold. Absolutely infamous, this boss. So I'm going to try my best not to absolutely eat it to this guy, but he's really, really tricky. So the way that this boss works is that he will try and ram his head into you. You gotta swing your sword and hit him in the tail. If you hit him anywhere but the tail, it will send you ricocheting off, and similarly, if he does hit you with his head, he is going to send you flying as a result. So this boss is kind of a gimmick. As you can see, the edges of the arena, there is no railing or anything to keep us on this little floating platform, so if he knocks us off, he is going to knock us back down to the previous floor, and unfortunately, if he does knock you off, it's going to reset the fight from the very start, even if you're on the very last hit. So as you can see, I'm just trying to be as delicate about this as possible, only go for an opening when there's a clean shot, and this is going to be the very last hit. You can see he speeds up a very significant amount, and you can see how much he pushes you when you actually do get hit. That's going to be a fall. That is most unfortunate. If you get hit in the wrong spot, there's basically nothing that you can do to fight it. You can hold the control pad against the direction that you get launched to try and stay on the ledge, but it is a really, really tricky fight. I'm not surprised that I fell off there. So don't be surprised if you yourself, if you ever decide to play this game, if you have trouble with this guy. He's really hard even for someone who's played this game a good number of times. See if I can do this. Ooh, speedrun status. Heck yeah. This is a little bit cleaner. And last hit. Perfect. That was a much, much cleaner attempt on that second go. Oh, we've already got the boomerang out. It's a good thing I had it out before I before I defeated the boss, because as you can see, I can't hit the start screen to bring it out, so I'm gonna try and polish the pendant for the very last time. Oh, it's very close. It is providing a nice polishing to the tile right behind it, though. So that's very nice of the boomerang. What a helpful tool. You won the Pendant of Wisdom. With this, you have collected all 3 pendants. Go now to the Lost Woods to get the Master Sword. Wow, I can't believe we're already here. That's so exciting, guys. And as you can imagine, I'm going to immediately save and quit out of the game, because that is going to be much faster than walking anywhere where we can go from the Tower of Hera. I'm going to start from Sanctuary, and actually, now that we have all 3 pendants, I believe these guys have some different dialogue for us. What you got, old man? Take the 3 pendants into the Lost Woods. The Master Sword awaits you there.
Dawson, you are wonderful. As I thought, you have the power of the hero inside you. Now you should get the Master Sword. I am confident that you can defeat the evil wizard.
I am indeed confident that I can defeat the evil wizard as well, and that is going to be our goal for finishing off this part right here. Gotta go get the Master Sword before any of that business though, and let's go ahead and head back to the Lost Woods and do just that. This is one of the most powerful sequences for me in this game. Once you have that 3rd pendant, you're really feeling powerful. You know, you've beaten all 3 dungeons. At this point, you know, your start screen shows that you've gotten, you know, a good chunk of stuff. You've got everything at the bottom filled out, you've got your pendants, you've got a good chunk of the items. But if you can tell by that item select screen, we've still got a lot more game to go. We are not even at the halfway point yet. But I'm going to talk less about that, and more about just how cool this Master Sword scene is, really. Like, it's just... I love this whole walk. As I was saying before, let me construct my thoughts a little bit better. The walk to the Master Sword, once you have all 3 pendants, you're feeling pretty powerful in the first place. You go to the Lost Woods again, which you've probably already been into if you've explored a little bit. You've got this really cool walk up through with the animals, and at the very base of the Master Sword stand here, there's a little Hylian text, which if we break out our Book of Medora, we can actually read that. The hero's triumph on Cataclysm's eve wins 3 symbols of virtue. The Master Sword he will then retrieve, keeping the knight's line true. Well, we're here with 3 pendants, so I'm gonna shut up and just let this cutscene play, because it's really cool, and if you've played Ocarina of Time, it's honestly even cooler. Suddenly, Sahasrahla contacts you telepathically. Dawson, it is extraordinary that you won the Master Sword that makes evil retreat. With this shining sword, I believe you can deflect the wizard's evil powers. The destiny of this land is in your hands. Please, Dawson. So, there we go. We've got a brand new sword upgrade with the Master Sword, and as you can see, it's just a little flashier when we swing it, and indeed a little bit longer than the starter sword, which is really, really cool stuff. Can travel back through the animal buddies, and I just love that cutscene, and I love how it is called back to in Ocarina of Time. I actually didn't realize it came from this game first, because while this was the first game I played, again, I was really little, so I had played Ocarina of Time and gotten further. It's just a weird order of things. Dawson, help! The soldiers are coming to Sanctuary! Aye! I think that was Zelda, so that wasn't exactly the proper voice to do for her, but that's relatively okay, I think. And instead of saving and quitting to go to the Sanctuary, I think it is more important that we walk here at this very moment. As quick as it would be to do so, I really like walking through the Lost Woods with the fog gone, although it does take away the cool Lost Woods theme, which is really, really unfortunate. But I like the shadowy, light effect that the layering has in this area. They did so many cool things with the layering effect on the Super Nintendo, it's just really great stuff. In almost every single Super Nintendo game, the ability to layer the different, I guess, sprite levels? I'm not sure how you would phrase that, but being able to layer the graphics on top of each other, some emulators will actually let you disable each one of the, I think it's 5 layers of graphics, and it makes some really weird effects, and it's cool stuff. Here we are back at Sanctuary. Oh no! Zelda's no longer here, and the old man lies defeated. Dawson, you are a second too late. I've failed Zelda. The soldiers have abducted her. They have taken her to the castle. You must find her before the wizard works his magic. Please, you are our only hope. No. They've stolen our girlfriend. They killed our protector and the old man. I will not stand for this. it seems like it is time to storm Hyrule Castle again, to the place where this all began on that first rainy night, to once again confront the wizard and his evil plan. And now that we have the Master Sword in tow, we should be able to do some really effective things there. Trying not to be too specific with what we're going to be doing, but also not too vague. It's a little difficult to maintain that kind of balance. And we can quickly head back to the castle, right through this leftmost path. There was this stone blocking us before with the power gloves. You can lift it on up and, of course, storm the castle. This is also really cool. I just love this whole sequence, like after you grab the Master Sword up to the point where you actually take on Aghanim. It's really great stuff, just the whole way through, and being able to use the upgraded sword makes you feel really powerful. You can kill these green guards in a single hit now. Just, come on, that feels so good. That makes you feel so strong. It is quite excellent. So, I didn't go out this path before during the rainy night, although it was an option to get on top of the castle here, but I didn't go this way because until we have the Master Sword, this little electric guy is going to block our way further into the castle, but with the power of the sword, we can defeat this enemy and head on through. However, folks, I think that I'm going to wait right here. This is going to be the start of a little mini dungeon, and then we've got some more exciting stuff to be doing just directly after that. So we managed to get through the Tower of Hera in this part and make it all the way up here, so I'm satisfied with that. So yeah, I hope you guys are looking forward to storming Hyrule Castle in part number 6, and my name is Reddy Opka. I hope to be seeing you there.